Hey, this is just an update on my previous videos. As I mentioned in my previous videos, I'm a targeted individual and experimentation sport. And in this video, I'm just going to describe everything that's been happening as of late. Because, as I mentioned in previous videos, what's happening as of late is dehumanizing what they're doing to me. And as I mentioned in previous videos, I believe that I was whole brain emulated board and no more normal and created. So whatever life forms in this reality can in order to control targeted individuals. As I mentioned, these life forms, as I've mentioned in previous videos, they can take up many different shapes and forms. And it's like at times they can possess to try and control targeted individuals' bodies. But also there's the mechanisms of technology involved. And it's like, as I mentioned in previous videos, and said again, that these life forms can consciously project or project their brainwaves somehow through possibly a microwave field or to technology that's been inserted in my body since my birth in order to try and control me by mimicking my inner dialogue and through visual and verbal input into my mind. It's where they're trying to use their own mind to control me and create my reality around me. As I mentioned before in previous videos, this is possibly the mechanism of what's been going on since birth. And now that they've experimented on me so much, they're trying to mind wipe me and soul wipe me, where they're trying to do the worst to me, as explained in previous videos. As I said, these life forms, they have the ability, it's like they're true, I don't know, it's like they can project their brain waves to try and control through a microwave field. But also there's the possibility, as I mentioned in previous videos, how these life forms also try to possess, to control my body and other targeted individuals' bodies. As I mentioned in previous videos, when they enter and exit the body, you can see these orbs, black and white orbs, and this is what I've seen happening with these life forms around us out in society, and how they can instantaneously teleportation from one area to the next. And it's not like teleportation, it's like, it's how you'd see, it's just like the body turns into an orb or a streak and moves around this reality. It's very, very quickly. And it's like now that they're using everything they can to mind wipe me. Because I get no still a few things written down, but again, I just always feel them in me now. And it's like, as I mentioned in previous videos, what they're doing now is that when I'm walking around, I mentioned in previous videos about them projecting these images on my body, and then through consciousness projection or brainwave projection. They're putting their voices in my mind to try and mimic me in an inner dialogue. I've mentioned this in previous videos, and it's like a form of it's like it's definitely attack of the self, but it's like they're trying to rob me identity by through the use of all the varied ways I mentioned, remote neuron modeling, whole brain emulation, and the projection of brain waves and one possession to try to rob the souls of targeted individuals. They keep what's going on as late as these people that are experimenting on me are using varied mechanisms of trying to emotionally control me through projections, through possibly where they're projecting their it's where they're trying to control me through their own emotions. It's like they're projecting their emotions inside of me. It's where they're working as a collective, these people that are experimenting on me and try to create my mind as other people. Where my mind used to work, where when I used to think of something, I'd be always off myself. But now anytime I see certain phrases, words and stuff like that, whenever I'm watching something, these people that are experimenting on me are projecting visuals of themselves inside my mind and trying to emotionally control me to like it, as if like it's like they're trying to change my identity from who I am. To other people, and this is what's been ongoing over the past 4 years. And it's a form of mind wiping and soul robbing. And this is what they've been doing to me over the past 4 years, but possibly throughout my whole life unknowingly. Because that's what these life forms are doing through the use of technology and projecting consciousness to technology and sort of inside my body in order to control me verbally and visually by mimicking my inner dialogue and how the visual part of the brain works. And now they're using, like especially what happened tonight, is like they're using a collective, these people within my residence. Like over the past couple of years, they've been put me through extreme psychological torture. And what they're doing now is even worse, where I'm walking around, these people that are experimenting with me, that are known to me, that are in my residence, that are in my locality, who's further afield, they're using many mechanisms. When I'm walking around, they're projecting these images of themselves on me, and where they're working as a collective to try and emotionally control, and it's where they're trying to make me believe I'm other people other than myself who have been for the past 34 years. And it's like they're trying to really mind wipe me now and do the worst to me. And I believe it's them trying to rob my soul through everything they're doing to me. And as I mentioned before, it's like these people connect the remote view, or possibly through remote neuron modeling, that using primitive technology that's always been around, because they're using it in order to look through my eyes, but I'm more or less on the side of remote viewing. And as I said, previous videos, in order to control the truth, control me, explaining exactly what's going on, these through fusion, through brainwave fusion, consciousness projection, or brainwave projection. They're always trying to control my mind visually and verbally in order to control the truth and control me. And as I said, in this form, they have my body turned into a microwave broadcast. But not just that, there's a satellite-based broadcast that's also connected to trying to, it's also trying to control me. And it's how they try to, it's like they use many mechanisms to confuse and control. But it's like they use this brainwave connection, or brainwave projection, plus the verbal or visual inputs to try and mind wipe, but it's also a mechanism of them always boxing me in through into enslavement through microwave mind control. It's where they're not just mind wiping me and soul wiping me. That's what's been going on over the past 4 years. But they're enslaving me and where they're always projecting the brainwaves to and try to visually and verbally control me through the projection of the brainwaves. And this is the format they're using, plus many others. As I said, possession is also a big part of this. And that's another mechanism of how to try to change the mind. As I mentioned in previous videos, these life forms, they use all the varied techniques of technology, possession, psychic attacks, possession-based attacks, telepathic attacks, consciousness fusion attacks, or telepathic brainwave projection. And are trying to control and mind wipe me, soul wipe me, in order to get away with their experimentation, but also to, or they're dehumanizing me every day, and they're trying to, everything they're doing is dehumanizing. Where every day I've been experimented on to extreme measures within my own residence. Every day I wake up, they're using all these very techniques that I've just mentioned in order to experiment on me, but also to, like what happened this evening is they're trying to make me to a collective connection, or a collective, like a hive mind, possibly possession, trying to be themselves within myself. And it's like they have my brain in a hypnotic state through remote neural monitoring while they're doing this. But also there's other abnormal, scary things happening where with these, it could be using technology, but I doubt it. I'd say these images that they're flashing on my body, and it's like they're projecting sound waves through my body, trying to mimic emotions. Whether these people that's around doing it, trying to make me like being possessed by them, or it could be technology, as I said, and it's dehumanizing and degrading. I'm just trying to say or explain it, because everything, as I mentioned in previous videos, everything that I'm so everything that I gone through and those that put me through it, somehow it's projected around this reality. As I mentioned, this reality is probably built up of frequencies. As I mentioned before about the whole aspect of life forms controlling certain genetic lines through or they're using certain individuals like myself as a game since birth through all the varied ways I've mentioned in order to try and use this as a game. Because everything I do now is what's everything they're doing now is where they're constantly keeping me in complete confusion through always overloading my mind by microwave broadcast attacks where they're constantly just broadcasting voices into my mind to try and control it in visuals and trying to make me, and as I mentioned, the brainwave projections and trying to control emotions and trying to wrap who I am, my identity, or my soul. This is what they do to targeted individuals. That's why every other targeted individual knows deceased. It's like when they do what they're doing to us, it's like they rob our soul or something. And but it's I was just saying that they consciously project and brainwave projection plus the use of technology, possibly a possession, to try and visually control the brain. It's like hive minds connect to try and visually and verbally control targeted individuals, like myself and other targeted individuals around the world as soul experiments. And it's just the evil with it. Like who do this to another life form? This is why I wake up to every day with regards to these visual verbally trying to control me, but also at the same time they're using going through extreme torture where they're trying to where they're not just trying to mind wipe me, soul wipe me, they're trying to kill me. So that's why I'm just uploading, because I can only speak of what's happening to myself and it's like at the same time they're trying to use me as a mechanism through we've been experimenting to try and torture people I care about through these visuals and attacking me through the use of my own body as what they're using as a broadcast system by them fusing and connecting to me. And possibly it's where they're using the projection of the brain is possibly they're connecting to some sort of a microwave field that surrounds this reality, a frequency that surrounds this reality that connects the targeted individuals in order to control their minds, both visually and verbally. Because as I mentioned in previous videos, it's like these life forms have the ability to visually, verbally, telepathically communicate, but I distracting technology involved with regards to the visual inputs in my mind. And what they're doing to me now is extremely scary, where they're visually projecting themselves on my body and using sound waves. It's where they're working as a collective through visuals and sound waves to try and make me like being possessed. It's absolutely disturbing. And as I said, because they're using my body as a microwave broadcast, and it's like there's a broadcasting what I'm suffering throughout the world. And as I mentioned in previous videos, it's like they use live media. It's not like they're using live media. Like I used to watch a lot of football. I don't anymore because of what they're doing. It's like somehow, with whatever this is all about frequencies, I believe, because whatever frequencies that are attacking me, whatever's going on, it's like whatever broadcast is attacking me. It's like it's transmitted whenever I'm watching live media, triggers and body language. And triggers and body language and other forms of control meds that I've been sensitized to over the past couple of years. And plus this broadcast that attacks me, it is trying to soul wave me and soul control me. It because when I was, for instance, watching football, it was like there was a projection of sound waves projected into the vicinity of where I was sitting. And it was trying to control, not just control me, but it was instructing, when I was watching football and live media, it was instructing people what to do. And I'm watching it before my very eyes. And the people carrying out the acts that they've been told to do by the system that's attacking me and trying to take away who I am. It's like they're using every form of platform industriality to experiment on me. Because I know of what's been ongoing, and it's like this is possibly another method to try and control me. Because as I said, these life forms are experimenting and tagging individuals. And it's like they use this as a mechanism for a game. And not only that, now it's like they can attack, and what they've been doing is they're attacking through many methods. But it's like they're using everything I do as a form to manipulate me. But they're also using everything to try and, where I feel it's like while I'm watching it, it's possibly those connected to me and using remote viewing, trying to rob me of my identity by visual and verbal projections, where they're trying to take away everything about myself and everything I do about themselves. And they're using my mind as some sort of weird, true verbal visual input. they're not only trying to they're trying to they're trying to as I said, make everything about themselves. Or they're trying to take away the me and always have themselves as they're trying to make me. It's like they're to project themselves, watch everything I do to try and make me feel like I don't exist and make everything about themselves as some sort of visual and verbal attacks to my mind the whole time, where the only thing I can do is not watch anything anymore or do anything because they use it as attacks. And even when I'm doing that, I'm sitting here attacked by these people projecting themselves to me. As I mentioned, how to maneuver around this reality at speed and how to come in and try to always control my mind. They're trying to drive me into insanity by always overloading my mind. And not just that, these people around me are always just projecting them images of themselves in my mind. And it's not, it happens in my mind, it happens at the forefront. The forefront of my eyesight, these projected images. And trying to emotionally control me. As I mentioned, they're carrying out these nice sensations in my residence and in my community, possibly through projections, brainwave projections, like sound projections or body jumping, where they try to control the soul through possession. As I mentioned before in previous videos, these people try to possess themselves to genetically share, but the possessed target individuals in order to try and control. And it's like to be people in my community, in my residence, creating nice incitations and trying to control my emotions, either through anger or the opposite to anger, because I never feel I haven't been happy in the last, I don't know how long, because I don't know what's going on to me, but it's like they always try to control emotions through content and anger and happiness, if you like. But what's been going on as of late, as I said, for instance, to be sitting out on the street revving cars and there'll be a man screams throughout my body, or there'll be going around banging stuff within my residence and I'm in these screams throughout my body. Or not hear, I'd feel possessed or possession, or as I said before, with these brainwave projections that can make it, and the projections of visuals of my body that can make it feel like possession. But with as I can feel it now, it's like when the revving cars on the street, it's like the body jump. I'll jump into my body and try to it's like they use a sound wave of how people it sound when they're angry or when they're getting angry and project it through my body. It's like they jump in and where they use visual images and emit screams from my body, and to be sitting out there trying to not trying when they're revving car engines and creating noise sensations. And as I said, all I could do is what I do when it happens is try to protect myself, where I just take myself through, trying not to let it affect me. But it's like, as I said, they're trying to it's like every day I wake up and that this is what they're doing to me, and I'm just trying to explain it. And as I mentioned, they're using it's like they're attacking my mind to it's like they keep me in hypnotic states at times through remote neural monitoring. And they're projecting the voices at me to try and control my mind, as I've just stated previously. But it's like too verbal visual input. They're trying the worst things possible. They're trying to not just rob me of my identity, but rob where I've like to not only trying to break down my mind by trying to rob me on, not just trying, but trying to mind wipe and soul control, and they're also trying to make me not care about people I care about. They're trying to control my mind by projections of brainwaves, remote neural monitoring, possession. And that's what's going on with these life forms. I believe that they're obsessed with trying to visually control my mind or verbally control my mind every day. But also, it's like they've it's like I'm living a nightmare, to be honest. It's where they're trying to, as I mentioned, with the soul wiping and the mind control and the mind wiping. It's like they're trying to control these visuals that are disturbing in the sense that the projecting, it's like they keep, especially today and over the past couple of days, they keep projecting images after images within my foresight. Of them trying to control my behavior. And when they're projecting these images, there's a microwave broadcast because they're projecting themselves into my body through microwave fields, possibly body jumping. They're trying to control everything I do. They're using everything as a game, and like using this microwave broadcast field to commentate everything I do. They'll input visuals and try to direct me to the visuals and to carry out the behavior of their visuals. And it's disturbing. And it's like they're using either technology to insert these images into my mind, or the foresight of my mind, or into a microwave field that surrounds me. Or as I said, it's through brainwave projections where they're visually and verbally trying to control me through projecting their brainwaves to, as I mentioned, technology that's been placed inside my body stems from my birth, of where I know where this technology is inserted in my body. Because see, that's what I think they do, the targeted individuals. It's like, because they try to build up many belief systems in order to experiment on me and other targets. But it's like there's life forms in this reality. As I mentioned before, the black and white squares everywhere within this reality represents them. I don't know about reptilian and mammalian or anything like that. I've never looked into whatever life forms other people explain about within this reality. All I know is that what I see them, when I see them changing, and it's into like where I guess shadow type of from physical to a shadow to like a white form, like a. That's why I think the black and white squares we see everywhere, where it represents the life forms that exist in this reality, the black and the white, the people said, or people in this reality or whatever it is says it's a these checkered squares are like they say it's an indication of dark and light, but it's what I see these life forms manipulate themselves into, or shapeshift themselves into, if you like, when I see them appearing around me. And I've mentioned in other videos where you can also see these in other targeted individuals' videos, namely Phil Leak, and some of my videos, and I should put them in a link under this video in order to so people can see it for themselves. And it's like in order to control my mind and how to experiment on me in order to soil control, it's like the use of microwave fields, use all the inferior ways I mentioned to try and emotionally control, but that's where they tried to control my mind by using me as a microwave broadcast. They're using me as a microwave broadcast system by the projections of their brainwaves to technology inside me. And as I said, to carry out all these, they've been carrying out all these favorite techniques in order to mine me over the past couple of years. But now it's it's like they're using technology and whole brain emulation to control the mind. They try to control us through visual and verbal input. And I believe within this reality, this is how they create terrorists and attacks within society just to so they use unsuspecting people to like myself that have been known, like myself that what I know now is going on. It's like they experiment these like target individuals. This is how they experiment on target individuals their whole life in order to to try to project the evil what's within themselves by mind blocking and remote neural monitoring and everything else I've mentioned to try and control attacks within this reality. Trying to drive targeted individuals into insanity by everything they're doing to us. So well, it won't do it to me because I know what's going on, but then because it seems now that that's what's going on within this reality. It seems now that I've no doubt that they've done too much to my mind. And now that I know what this reality is, I'm not sure. I'm not sure that I definitely don't like it. This reality, what they do and what they're doing to me and other targeted individuals. So I was happy out 3 or 4 years ago. Until all this started happening to me now. Every day I wake up, it's a battle to keep myself. Because they're using me as a mechanism just to inhumanely and dehumanize it. They disrupt me every day. And what I say here, suffering. People are just intent for demonic evil attacking me. And it's like they've taken I can never feel alone anymore because they're always use me as a game. Everything I do, every body movement I make, where they keep. That's when many attack me at the same time by overlapping information concurrently into my mind. By projection. By jumping in around me. And trying to where they're using all sorts to just degrade my mind. Disrupt my mind. And it just just because there's just they're doing so much in regards to the attacks that it's like I never don't feel alone anymore. Everything's watched.